So the Panthers lose the final game of the season. They finish with a losing record, and they're going to the playoffs.
They actually lost their last two.
Yeah.
They're 8-9, along with Tampa Bay 8-9. Was there three teams 8-9?
Yeah, the Falcons.
All 8-9.
Yeah.
And somebody gets to go to the playoffs to represent the NFC South, and it will be the Carolina Panthers.
Well, what do you think about the Carolina Panthers and their chances? They got a home game, right? And they are playing, by the way, they're playing the Rams.
And guess what? The Rams lost to Carolina in Carolina earlier this season.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting game.
Yeah, that makes it
very interesting, right? If you're the Rams, you're going, well, we have some redemption, but we got to go play Carolina. And Carolina's sitting there going, hey, we beat you guys already.
Interesting that the Rams played their starters today. Matthew Stafford was brilliant. They got the win. And I think you want to be in this spot. If you're one of the wild card teams, you want to play the Panthers. That's the preferable team to play in this scenario.
And you say that, and you're probably correct, and especially the Rams, because they lost to the Panthers earlier this year. Matthew Stafford had another fine game. He's thrown 45 touchdown passes. So now they get to go back to a place and play a team that beat them earlier this season for a playoff spot.
Okay, give me a scenario where I got to believe the Rams are going to be favored in that game. Yeah. Give me a scenario where the Panthers can win that one. How do they have to do it?
Well, I think a couple things have to happen. You have to slow this Ram offense down. It can't be back and forth, back and forth. That's the kind of game the Rams want to play. They want to put it in Matthew Stafford's hands and say, you know what, outscore them. And they can score points. Make it an ugly game. Run the football. Don't allow them to have the ball. Limit possessions. Maybe get a turnover or two. That helps you in games like this. You have a veteran quarterback in Matthew Stafford, played in a lot of playoff games. I think this is Bryce Young's first playoff game.
It sure is. In fact, it's the Panthers' first playoff game as a franchise in 8 years, and they're back in the postseason for the first time in all that time. First team in at least 35 years to have a losing record and lose their final game and still make the playoffs. So they're still alive. They're in the tournament. That's the good news.
Well, fair to say, even though you got the win, maybe not the cleanest game for your defense, what do you guys need to shore up before the playoffs begin?
Man, protect the vision. That's what we're talking about, protect the vision. Everybody doing their job to get us to where we need to be. We're in the playoffs. How much better can we be? How can we watch this film, assess ourselves, get better, go into the locker room, go to practice, and get the details that we need to be cleaned up so we can get ready to go on this run?
To start the season 0-3 and be where you are, what have you learned about this team?
Perseverance, the togetherness of this team, the bonds that we have. I always say, man, going to West Virginia was probably one of the best things, man, that we did to connect as a team and to really come out here and play for each other and play for this whole city.
Well, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
As I told our guys after the game, we've been in all sorts of games, you name it. And what I'm most proud of is our guys find a way to finish, no matter if it's like it was today, in that fashion where you need a drive at the end, a 2 minute, you need to close it out. Hey, we can go do that. We're not shying away from any of those moments.
How about, the Texans themselves?
Yes.
As you know, when you start out 0-3, you got to try to keep the locker room and keep them playing hard. And credit to D'Amico Ryans for doing just that.
There's no doubt, and I think this offense continued to get better as the season, developed. They have an outstanding defense. Now, today wasn't a defensive game by any stretch of imagination, but that's what they really lay their hat on, is their defense. And now offensively, they're starting to play better. So this is a team in a division that probably a lot of people thought they would win this division. But all of a sudden, Jacksonville shows up.
Yeah, I did want to talk some more about the Jags and what they've done, because I think there's some sort of a gut feeling that, the Jags are going to get sideways at the end of the season, and Trevor Lawrence is not going to play particularly well. They've proved a lot of naysayers wrong over this stretch.
Well, look, when Trevor Lawrence came out, he was like the next guy. And played pretty good his first season, too, and then all of a sudden he kind of disappeared. The Jacksonville Jaguars disappeared off the map. They were like, they're in Jacksonville, who cares? They're back. They're back. Coach Cohen really's got this team playing. Offensively, Trevor Lawrence looks like an entirely different guy. He's totaled 38 touchdowns. I scratched my head on that one.
Yeah.
When you watched him play last year compared to this year, different play.
Okay, so let's take a look. They've won 8 in a row going into the postseason. Are they legitimate Super Bowl contenders?
Well, you get into playoffs, you would hope that you feel like you have the opportunity to do that. Now, have they been in a lot of playoffs? No. And I always say this, when it comes to playoffs, the experience really becomes a factor. There are nerves in playoff games. And I say this as a former player that played in playoff games compared to my first one, compared to the ones I played in later in my career. There's a whole different atmosphere because you understand this. It's one and done. Now you're in the tournament to play in the biggest game you can play as a football player, the Super Bowl. You talk about in the offseason training camp, hey, we want to get in the playoffs, we're trying to go to the Super Bowl. Now this is like, we're in the tournament. And if you lose, there's no tomorrow. You go home. You're like everybody else. You start watching it. There's a different pressure when you get in the playoffs.
And, of course, the team they're drawing, the Buffalo Bills, coming to town.
They've been in a few playoffs.
They have, as you talk about experience.
And the quarterback has played in a lot of them, by the way.
That's a really interesting wild card
is.
weekend game. Bills at Jaguars.
And it was everything I expected. And it was so tough. I knew they were going to make it difficult, but I don't think I saw more than 3 singles on a real drop back the whole game, and I just knew that if I did, I had to make that moment count. I had a dream that I didn't get it, so I was like, well, like we gotta deny fate, whatever it is, we gotta make it happen. Been waiting on this my whole life, my whole football career, so I knew I had it in me, and damn, I wanted that 25, but they made it real difficult these last 2 games especially, but really these last 3. So that'll be the next journey. They're trying to go out there and get 25.
That's history. I mean, he's the sack king. I mean, that's unbelievable. They've been playing this game for a long time, and for him to go get that in the circumstances with the degree of difficulty in which he got it this season is unbelievable. I mean, he's the defensive player of the year. You can make him the MVP if I had a vote. And I think the reaction of his teammates is genuine. That's real. These guys care about each other.
Yeah, great moment from Myles Garrett. Did you give me your thoughts on this guy?
Well, look, and people will look at this and say, well, they play 17 games now. Doesn't matter. It's a different league than it was 10, 20 years ago. Doesn't matter. What he's done, he has set a record for sacks. And when you're him, think about him. He plays on the Cleveland Browns. This team was, won 5 games? They were 5-12. He elected to stay here in Cleveland, too, when he signed that big contract. So kudos to him. And for him to get the sack, in the last game of the season against a really good quarterback in Joe Burrow. Now, some people will say, well, Joe Burrow felt it coming, and he kind of, okay, whatever.
We both sort of thought it was
but you know what?
a farf there.
At the end of the day, he got the sack record. And congratulations, Myles. Well-deserved. When you watch him play, the effort that he gives. Look, he's getting doubled every time he lines up. I mean, someone's double-teaming this guy. So to be able to do that in today's world, I mean, it says a lot. Now, it's a different world. We pass the ball a lot in our league, but still, he owns the record.
In this day and age, with all the stats and numbers, you can measure get-off for one of the defensive linemen.
Yes.
He has, I'm not just saying that, he has the best get-off in the NFL.
Yes.
And he's such a force. And with that kind of speed, he's very difficult to stop, obviously.
And he's agile. He's limber. He can bend, he can contort his body to get past guys. It's unbelievable what he's been able to accomplish.
The NFC, and a look at the playoff games here. So the Seahawks have the bye.
Yes.
Then it's the Packers and Bears one more time, a third time this season at Soldier Field. That'll be all sorts of fun. 49ers
Eagles
have to go to Philly to take on the Eagles. And then we talked a little bit about that Rams-Panthers game coming up this weekend. All right, let's just dive in. Let's just give me some thoughts here. Packers finished the season on a really down note. They lost a bunch of games here down the stretch. They rested their guys today, but now they go into Soldier Field to take on the Bears, who just lost to the Lions today.
This is an interesting game. These guys know it's the third time they played each other now all of a sudden, right, in one season. The quarterbacks come into play in this a lot, in the fact that who will be able to move the ball but also protect the ball. This is one of those games you get in the playoffs, you can't turn the ball over. That's a no-no. It's just as is. You just when you do that, you lose games. First time that Caleb Williams has been in a playoff game. First time the Bears have been in a playoff game in quite some time.
It's been a bit.
So this will be very interesting. I mean, it'll be they know each other. There's no secrets of we're going to do this. We've seen each other twice already. Now it's 3 times. We'll see who wins this one.
There's a school of thought that you lose Micah Parsons, and that's such a huge part of your defense. And a lot of people have downgraded the Packers, and then that coincides with this sort of late season swoon of theirs. If you were a gambling man, and I know you're not, who are you putting your money on in this game? Packers on the road.
I'm going to go with Chicago. I just
All that inexperienced stuff you're just talking about. Now
yeah,
you're
but
going
I just
Chicago.
think the atmosphere, the arena, they're going to play at home. This fan base has been waiting for this for a long time. So I just think, and Chicago's beat them. It's not like, this is Green Bay Packers. No, they're comfortable playing the Packers.
Okay, let's move along. 49ers and Eagles. Eagles playing pretty well at the end of this season. Their defense is really tough. 49ers, great offense, but their defense looks beatable.
Yeah, and the 49ers are beat up.
That was
They're
a
not
tough
healthy.
game
They lost
the
some
other
more players this last game.
Yeah.
They're a beat up
Teams
football
that
team.
after they play the Seahawks tend not to do well that next week.
Yes. I think the 49ers will be competitive, but the Eagles should win this because they're at home and their defense is playing much better. Their defense is getting after the quarterback. Their offense still is a little, like I said, it's a pothole offense. They hit potholes every once in a while. They go along for a blah, blah, and they hit a pothole. What is this? That's how their offense is.
Okay, we'll see how their steering is to try to avoid those things and their breaks and the rest of that. All right, let's take a look at the AFC playoff picture. Denver gets home field advantage and the bye.
Ooh.
The Patriots are the 2 seed. They will host the Chargers. And that's the Bills and Jaguars in Jacksonville. And finally, the Texans will play either the Ravens or the Steelers the Sunday night game tonight. That game kicking off in just a little bit. All right, let's go through it. Talking about inexperience, here's Drake May, who could win the MVP, by the way. Probably is going to win the MVP.
Yes.
That's my thought. He was the favorite coming into this week. We'll see how that plays out between he and Matthew Stafford. But he's a second-year quarterback.
Yes.
First playoff game against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Who are you going with?
Hard to go against the Patriots.
Yeah.
Right now, they are playing just lights out football. And every week you think, something's going. No, they just keep playing. Can't say enough about what they did when they went and hired Grable, a former New England Patriot, knew the Patriot way. Playing a young quarterback, built a nice defense. They're almost boring to watch. You know, you kind of, and again, it's like, okay, and they find another way to win. They just keep winning. And that's all they've done is won. So until you beat them, good luck.
By the way, Mike Vrabel, a 10-win increase over the team last year. That's the most ever by a first-year coach of a new team. So the Patriots, they're rolling into the postseason. We continue to go through these games. Bills and Jaguars, we talked about. The Texans, whether they're playing the Ravens or the Steelers, I would think with that defense, we know defense travels in the NFL. That seems like it would be a tough out for either the Ravens and the Steelers right now.
Correct. And they can play excellent defense. They just smother you. They don't allow you any points. And that's their calling card. That's their head coach. That's what he believes in. They don't turn the ball over a lot on offense, so they make you make mistakes. They make quarterbacks uncomfortable because there's a lot of sometimes 3 and outs, and quarterbacks aren't comfortable with that. A series or 2 of that, they go, I got to go make a play, and then they make an error. They turn the ball over, and they just wait. They wait to pounce on you, so you got to be very patient when you play a team like this.
If you could take one defense going into this playoffs, I'm Seahawks,
Broncos, Texans.
Which unit would you rather line up with going into the postseason?
Denver.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sack-wise, they get after the quarterback. They lead the league in sacks. They only give up 18 points a game. See, I'm a believer in this, as being a defensive player and defensive coach. When you can hit the quarterback, that speeds his clock up. He doesn't see the field anymore when you can hit him. He knows, I got to get rid of the ball. They don't sit in the pocket. They just don't. They know they're going to get hit. And when you start hitting the quarterback, one thing in football we used to say, storm the castle and hit the quarterback. And you speed him up all of a sudden. And when you can do that, and the Denver Broncos do it a lot, that's a powerful deal.
We saw that happen with Brock Purdy last night against that Seahawks.
Yes.
He got hit so many times. He got hit nasty at the end. And he didn't seem quite like the same guy he's been over a really hot stretch before that. Well,
at times, when you're coming, you think they're playing with 12 guys. Because someone's always hitting them. And you go, what? They got 12 guys, we only got 11. No, they got 11.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. You can wreck the offense when you start hitting the quarterback because his clock starts ticking too fast. He's like, oh, man, I got to get rid of the ball. He doesn't wait. He sees the first read of his cover, he goes, oh, what am I going to do? I got to run. He never goes through his progressions when you hit the quarterback.
Okay, we have 13 of the 14 team filled in. Okay? Either the Steelers or the Ravens are going to be the 14th team. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Oh, my.
I mean, who? Who do you got?
I have no idea.
Well, that's what's interesting about this season is there's no dominant team.
No.
Every team has its flaws and its warts.